Hi everyone, good morning. It's a cold morning outside, but today's Motivational Mondays. Woohoo! It's Mish and Mark is not here. So why Motivational Mondays? Because Motivational Mondays are needed, especially after the weekend. There's usually a drop in this drive, a drive to, do certain things, like get up and out of your bed, get going, get to work, do the things that you would have normally do on a regular weekday. I don't know if everybody will agree, but Mondays are usually one of the most depressing days. And as I was reading up this morning on the Statistics Canada website, why is Monday so depressing? Well, after you come off of a high on the weekend and then you are going into the work week, there are so many things that you're not looking forward to. That is, do the things you normally do, during your job. Like you probably are doing, fun stuff, hanging out with friends and so on. And getting up to go to work in the morning on a Monday is very, very difficult, especially if you want to associate with your friends. And one of the things I was even considering, one of my sons was saying to me that there's a lot of people out there that are actually working from home. So a lot of people are working from home more since COVID than they used to, and which means people are isolated. People are not necessarily working among friends or colleagues in the office anymore as much as they used to. So this is key in terms of trying to understand that, even though yes, this could be saving the company money for people to work from home, but now it's worse for people to stay isolated. And what does that mean? Well, in isolation, people are not interacting with others in a physical sense, because humans are, we're social beings and we like to socialize with others. So when we don't have that opportunity, what's happening is we are losing touch. We're losing, that need. We're not being able to meet that need, basically. So if you think about it, as a baby, the first thing you need is to be cuddled as a baby, right? And if a child does not get that, somehow it affects them psychologically later on. Studies have shown that for babies who are not bonding with their moms or their dads, and it doesn't have to be just moms, it's just their actual family. It's very difficult, especially if they're adopted, for them to even have that close relationship with their family later on. So the same applies for adults. Though we are older now, it doesn't mean that we don't need that bond. We don't need the sense of touch. And women also need touch. We need that. And I think we were talking about that, in one of the videos. But some men are more emotional and they need that too. But for the most part, women, we need that sense of touch. So in terms of this video, the purpose of it is just to motivate those of us who are feeling down and out on a Monday, feeling like, you're isolated, feeling like nobody cares. You're either working from home, you're either trying so hard to get up, to get going to work, to do your regular stuff. Now most students are back at school. Maybe they're having a difficult time to do what they have to do in their schoolwork. And I was listening to some students on the weekend talk about how hard it is to transition from high school into university. It's very difficult for a lot of people. And now it's January, after the festivity had happened and everybody's back. It's not easy, right? So it's a lot to consider in terms of whether male, female, young or old. it's not easy for a lot of people. So the purpose of this video is just to motivate, just to encourage, just to say that regardless of what you're going through, I would say the ideal thing is to stay connected with those who are around you. And I know sometimes you might feel like, okay, maybe others around you need that feeling too, that feeling of connectedness, and maybe they also are going through their challenges. So who are you going to connect with? And I know a lot of people rely on social media to connect with people, and I know that may not be most ideal, especially given the challenges out there. Some people are not really real in how they approach things. They're not necessarily real. You find that people are basically fake, and unfortunately sometimes that even makes it worse. It makes it even more depressing in terms of what you're seeing out there. You're thinking that, oh, this is real life. People are showing off, showing what they have and all that kind of stuff. And I'm not saying that people shouldn't share what they have to say on social media based on their lifestyle. Maybe some people are real, maybe they have it going well, but a lot of people aren't. And even Statistics Canada mentioned that in the last decade, and I would say since COVID, the mental health issues have been on the rise, and it's significantly rising, and I would say at least by 10%, right? Maybe not exactly 10%, but if you go on Statistics Canada, you'll see the ratings. So it's difficult for a lot of people out there. And the funny thing is, men deal with depression and so on differently from how women deal with it. From what I saw on the website, men are 3 times as much in a position to commit suicide or even go into that depression where they use substance to really help them with their depression. So, and we call it substance abuse, right? The use of alcohol, drugs, and so on. And why is that happening? Is because that depression issue, that mental health issue, and it may not necessarily look like just depression. It could be other things. It could be other problems, like as I said, not being able to connect with others, that sense of belonging. And just because a male may look like they're macho and they have it all together doesn't mean that they don't need that connectedness. On the weekend also, I was listening to a presenter, and they were saying that men connect in activities, meanwhile women connect emotionally. So when men connect, they connect better together as men, and they also need that. They need connectedness among their peers. And when I say peers, their male counterparts. They need that connectedness, and in activities it helps them to feel like they belong. Because no matter how a woman may, give them that feeling of connectedness, when a man does not have a connection with another man, and I'm not talking in a sexual way, I'm talking in more, camaraderie kind of thing, then if they don't have that, then they feel like they don't belong. And that's why where you find men in an environment where there's a lot of men and stuff, and and they have that bond, you see that they're happier, right? At my workplace, there's a lot of men there, and for the most part, I would say they're connected. And then we also have maybe the equal amount of females, and I would say they're connected. But when there's this gap, when people are isolated, people are working from home, students, they go to school, they come home, they're in the library, they're not really connected with anyone, there is a major issue. And recently also, I found out that one of the prominent university in Toronto have such a high rate of suicides, and nobody talks about this. Nobody shares anything about these things. And one of the students that we were talking to said that that's the reason why they didn't want to go to that university, because the rate of suicide is so high. So, you know, I just want to encourage those who are, as I said, feeling like, you know, life is so dismal and it feels like you don't really have anything to live for, but there's so much out there. And one of the things that I think is so key to do is engage in activities. And you know, one of the things that I like that we have in Canada, we have a lot of recreational places that are available, and I actually signed up for the Brampton Recreational Center, but I've never really been faithful in attending anything at that, and I can go to any location that I want. And what if you can't afford a gym membership, you can go to a recreational center. But I notice a lot of people don't necessarily do that. And when you utilize the resources that are available, then you can help yourself. You can stay connected. Maybe after work you can just go to one of the rec centers, and if everybody does that, then there will be better, you know, connectedness, and there will be some sort of camaraderie among men and a bond among women. So I do believe that the resources are available, but we're not using it. And I can say I'm in the same boat. Sometimes I go home and especially because my husband is working away, I'm just isolated. But the only difference with me and maybe some others, I am always drenched with activities. I'm always doing things to keep myself occupied. That's one of the things I like to do. I don't like to stay unoccupied, and maybe that's my connectedness to my activities. And if people are like that, then maybe that would be also a good thing to do. Just connect with activities, do things that will keep you busy, keep your mind off that feeling of isolation, that feeling of, you know, disconnectedness, that feeling of not being able to really bond with anyone, and you know, and not being able to accomplish your goals and so on. Because those sometimes, because of our mental issues, it can affect our actions. It can affect the way in which we perform in other things. And sometimes it's not really that you can't do what you're setting out to do. It's because your mental state is not at a place. That's why you can't perform at your optimal level. And for me, you know, I think that especially if I'm having issues, say if I'm having relational issues, which is another problem, because people have relational issues. That's why they are mentally incapable of doing the things that they would normally do, and they're not motivated. And I can say, you know, even our teens, you know, parents need to be paying attention to their teens, making sure that they are staying connected. Sometimes one of the things we notice, people are in their rooms and they're not connected. They come home, the students are in their rooms, parents are, you know, out maybe doing something in the kitchen. Nobody is really coming together anymore. Everybody is just isolated, doing their own thing. And that's where it all starts. That isolation where people are just doing that and they're not staying connected. So my encouragement for everyone is just do the best we can and stay connected. You know, at the end of the day, though you may think that, you know, you can just operate and do what you're doing without anybody, and some, like I was gonna say, I feel that way sometimes, like I can just stay isolated, but I don't know how it might affect me mentally. I don't know, you know. And some people say, well, you know, you need to call sometime, you need to, you know, bond sometimes. I don't know, maybe I tend to feel like I'm so busy doing all the stuff I do that I don't really need always to interact. But sometimes it can haunt us later on, you know, and if we don't become a friend, then we will lose friends. We will lose that friendship. So stay connected, guys. that's my encouragement today. Stay connected. Just do the best you can, and if you feel like you're leading towards depression or leading towards that feeling of not being able to bond, or not being able to even accomplish your goals while you're disconnected, reach out to someone, please. There's a lot of as I said, resources that are available in Canada, and whether it's a rec center or whether it's, you know, a place where you can feel safe, and that's most important, a safe space, right? There's a lot of free resources available, and if everyone reach out, then we'll all connect. So that's my encouragement for today. Stay connected, stay motivated, and do not isolate, because once we isolate, we're gonna lose out. And you know, together we can do it, and that will be my encouragement today. So though it's Monday, and though it's not the best day that you may want to get up and go, and even the environment is so bleaky, it's not even, you know, it's not exciting even to look at. And you know, there's so many things that I could speak of in terms of health-wise, why, you know, people would get depressed even when the weather is the way it is. Sun doesn't come out. People tend to feel immediately a sense of depression, or a sense of that, you know, not excited feeling, right? And you just see people's faces, they're down and out and so on. So that I know is a natural thing, even when the weather changes. But you know, regardless of whether the weather looks like this or not, my encouragement is don't allow the environment to dictate how you're going to act, how you're going to behave, how you're going to perform, and how you're going to interact with others. Okay, so stay connected. And that's all for today. As usual, we say, let's keep it real. Ciao.